The company that made Mario, Zelda, and the Switch is older than the light bulb in most homes, older than 2 world wars, older than the phone in your pocket by a century. And it began by making something you would never, ever guess. By the end of this, you'll know how a company survives for over 130 years. And stay to the end, because the secret isn't that Nintendo kept winning. It's the opposite, and it once tried to survive by running love hotels. Nintendo was founded in 1889. Not 1989, 18. That's before cars were common, before flight, 2 years before the game of basketball even existed. So the makers of your childhood video games are, in truth, a 19th century business that somehow clawed its way into the 21st. And what they made back then had no wires, no screens, no batteries. To understand how they lasted, start with what they actually sold. For its first 70 years, Nintendo was a playing card company. It handmade hanafuda, traditional Japanese cards, in Kyoto. That was the entire business. Paper and ink. Think about that gap. The company that would one day sell you a plumber jumping on turtles spent its first 3 generations as a card printer. If you'd met Nintendo in 1940, video games would have sounded like science fiction. By the 1960s, the card business was fading. And what Nintendo did next is the real story, a desperate, chaotic scramble to survive by becoming anything at all. Facing decline, Nintendo threw itself at business after business, hoping something would stick. It ran a taxi company. It sold instant rice. It made a vacuum cleaner. It even famously ran a chain of love hotels. Almost all of it failed. But buried in that flailing was a new instinct: toys and then electronics. In 1970 came an electronic light gun, then simple TV games. Then, in 1981, an arcade game about an ape named Donkey Kong. That hit, and it pointed the way to the machine that would change everything, the home console. From cards, to chaos, to Mario. So here's the secret to surviving 130 years. It is not being the best. Nintendo has lost, badly, many times. It's not being the biggest. The secret is that Nintendo was never loyal to what it made. Cards, toys, arcade machines, consoles, handhelds, it abandoned each one the moment the world moved on. Most companies die because they fall in love with their own product. They are the thing they sell, so when that thing dies, they die with it. Nintendo's real product was never the cards or the consoles. It was Reinvention itself. It's a company shaped like a river. Same name, same source, completely different water every few decades. That's why a 19th century card maker is still here, while giants that once towered over it are gone. It didn't win the game. It just refused to stop changing which game it was playing. Now, to be fair, just keep pivoting isn't the whole truth, and it's easy to say when you only remember the pivots that worked. Nintendo also had real creative genius, designers like Gunpei Yokoi and Shigeru Miyamoto, who made things people genuinely loved, not just clever business moves. And plenty of its bets flopped. The love hotels, the instant rice, the virtual boy years later. The honest lesson isn't always change. It's that a company not married to its own product can outlast the ones that are, as long as it keeps making something actually worth buying. So, Nintendo is over 130 years old because it started as a card company in 1889 and simply refused to stay one. It survived by becoming toys, then electronics, then the console in your living room, reinventing itself every time the world changed. It didn't outcompete its rivals. It outlasted them. The next time you pick up a controller, remember you're holding the latest form of a 19th century deck of cards. Send this to the gamer who thinks Nintendo is a modern tech company. And subscribe because next, why is your keyboard designed to slow you down? That's the story everyone tells, and it's a lie.